Why overpricing your home can cost you thousands of dollars on the sale. Hey guys, it's Les with the Les Walden Real Estate Team, and it's a conversation I have with sellers all the time. They want to price their home higher, and this is what they a lot of times say. They want to price it higher to leave room for negotiation. And why would that strategy potentially backfire on you? Why would it backfire on you? Well, let's just kind of go through the scenario, and I'm going to do it super fast, but this is kind of what happens over time. So if you price your home too high or above market value, you're going to deter buyers, meaning you're not going to get showings. They're going to see your home listed, they're going to see the price, and they're going to think, well, gosh, that's too high based on what it should be. We're not going to go look at it. So you're not going to get any showings. You're going to deter the buyers. You're going to get no showings. And of course, if you have no showings on the property, you're not going to have any offers. There's no way to get an offer if somebody doesn't come look at your home, right? So if we price it way too high and then the seller or the buyers are deterred, they're not going to look, now you have no offers. And if you have no offers, your house is just going to sit on the market. And I bet we've all asked this question, or I've had many buyers ask this question. Well, it looks like a nice house, but why has it been on the market so long? What's wrong with it? So when it sits on the market, people gets a stigma attached to it. And so it just sits even more. People are starting to think there's got to be a problem with this home, even though it centers around price. So when your property sits on the market, it becomes what we call a stale listing. It's just out there blending in. It's not attracting anybody's attention. It's just blending in. And then when you become that stale listing, then buyers they make the assumption that the seller's not really serious about selling their home, right? So now we're at a state out there where the buyers are saying, well, that seller's not really serious about selling their home. Let's not even worry about going to look at it. So we're at a situation now where we've got the stigma is, or the belief is, we don't have a serious seller. Well, to try to fix that as a seller, you might at that point say, well, let's do a price reduction. And that's great. You need to do a price reduction, and there's strategies around those. If you ever get into that we'll talk about a different day. But if you ever get to a point where you need that, that there are strategies. But then you do a price reduction, right? And then all the buyers out there, all the realtors out there, then they turn that into, oh my goodness, maybe we've got a desperate seller. Now we've got a desperate seller. Their home's been on the market a long time. They haven't been able to get a contract. Now they're doing price reductions. Oh my goodness, we've got a desperate seller. So when they get that mindset, then that desperate seller, if the buyers and the agents out there think, oh, we got a desperate seller, the next thing you know is you're going to get an offer, but you're going to get what we like to call a low ball offer. It's going to be really low. And you're going to think, oh my God, I can't believe they've made that offer. But we've gone through all these stages, and now in their mind, they're believing that you are a desperate seller, so they make this lowball offer. And if that's the only offer you get, yes, you can negotiate some of that offer, but it's probably you're going to land on an agreement, a contract that's thousands less than if you'd have just started at market values at the beginning of your listing. If you'd have just started with appropriate listing price instead of going a little too high, even if the thought was, well, I'm going to price it up here so I can negotiate. That's a fine line you're walking, that if you price it up there too high, that you just don't get anybody interested. And then the longer it sits on the market, the more likely you are to get this low ball offer that would be thousands less than what you would have gotten for your home if you just priced it at market value to start with. So that's kind of the evolution of what overpricing your home can do for you or do to you. It can cost you thousands. So if you'd like to know where your home fits in the market, and I think that's the first step. If you're thinking about selling either this month, next month, or sometime this year, the next step for you to find out where your home fits in that market. And we'd love to come out to meet with you, have that conversation of where your home fits in the market today, so that you've got the data to make the right decision for you and your family. All you got to do is reach out to us here at the Les Walden Real Estate Team, and we would love to come out and take a look at your home.